state, growing state, growing state. Okay? Red is balance. 100 trucks left, 100 trucks came in, same thing. Okay? Red is balance. This is Canada, by the way. And yellow is decreasing. More population is moving out of the state, not out of the metro. I'm talking about state-wise. They don't do the metro, they do the state. And you can see an interesting pattern. Midwest, Northeast, I think someone asked about the Northeast here, maybe in the early session. Midwest, Northeast, shrinking. West and South, growing or balanced. Interesting. Where would you want to be? I know where I want to be. Okay, so that's an answer. Okay, let's see 2016. Midwest, same color coding. Midwest, Northeast, not all of it, shrinking. Some of the South, some of the West growing, and then a little bit of balanced, okay? And this is just 2 years. Go back to 2014, 13, and 12, you'll see similar patterns, okay? So there is a down migration, south migration, and a west migration in this country, or growth, okay? And when you buy a piece of property for the long term, you probably want to be, on that growth pattern, okay? By the way, be very careful not to look at the big numbers, because you can have here a state that is actually balanced. Dallas and Houston are, let's say, growing. San Antonio is shrinking. I'm just using that as an example. That's not the actual fact. I don't know them. But if you have to look more carefully, you will probably want to look at the metro level, okay? So don't assume, like all of Florida is growing. No. Probably the bigger metros are growing. Maybe Tallahassee is shrinking, but Orlando is growing. I'm just using that as an example. Okay, so be aware of that. But generally, you definitely see a pattern over the years. By the way, you go historically, it still shows, and the census projection is to continue to, this way for the next 20 years. Okay? Now, this is a different color coding. I want to give you a little bit of a guess or a tool or a rule of thumb, how to know if a state is landlord friendly or not. Anyone want to guess?
Red.
Is what?
Landlord friendly.
Red, aka Republican, usually landlord friendly.
Oh, yeah.
Democratic is usually, not. Okay? I'm going to ask you, you don't have to answer, but I'm just going to say, where do you want to be
Red.
in? Red. I agree. Luckily, no yellow states here. That would be confusing.
There's a yellow one up there.
Interesting. Oh, it's undecided.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. That's a swing state.
Works.
Okay, good. Very good. Okay, you guys, we talked about real estate as let's just recap for a second. So I want to make sure you guys are with me. Talked about U.S. real estate, right? At the higher level, and then kind of how do we choose a market and where to go and all of those things, how to mitigate for the downturn. Don't think that the downturn, if it's going to happen, assume it will. Hopefully not that horrific. Now we decided which metros, we found the formula, which metros to go to. Now we're down a little bit more deeper. Within the metro or metro level and below the metro level, where should I invest? And this is where we have to dig some data, okay? And in order to dig that data, those are the places I suggest. There are probably more, but just to give you a few. Wikipedia, if you go on Wikipedia and you do MSA, MSA is another word for metro. I think it stands for Metropolitan Statistical something analysis, could be, I'm not sure. MSA, or you use metro and you write, US metros by size, you'll get them. New York at the top, LA, etc. You'll see. And it gives you a metro statistical data. It's not fully accurate, but it gives you, a rule of thumb if you want to measure that. If you want to go deeper within the metro and see, okay, how is Dallas doing, right? And how do I find information about Dallas as an example, or portion of Dallas, or some of the counties? You can go to the Chamber of Commerce or County Info, okay, and go on their website and and look for that information. And I'll give you another tip. Old school me, call them up if you can find it. Most of the times that I called, by far most of them that I called government agencies or government offices on the phone, they actually pick up and answer. And if not, they actually respond. Actually, they do it with emails too. We tend to think, at least me, that nobody will answer or that. The other way around, yeah.
I actually add a funny thing to that. this is absolutely true. There's certain places in Alabama, you do not call between noon and 1 because they do not have voicemail
Yeah,
and they are out to lunch. And
That
they
happens
come
a lot,
back.
yeah.
But it's in the smaller areas in Alabama and it's just hilarious.
I just had Hillsborough County, which is part of Tampa. I called the building permits department regarding subdividing the lot just 3 or 4 weeks ago. They not only that they responded, they told me to go on the website, fill up the information, open a case, and a week later, the lady just called me on the phone to make sure everything is fine. I got my own answer. Like, really, I'm blown away. But I have spoken to multiple states, agencies, offices over the years, and I'm always shocked they do answer. So if you can't find information, call them up. Chamber of Commerce, by definition, want to show off how good they are. They want to tell you, our workforce is growing by that much. We have so many engineers. They want to shove this information to you. Call them. They're eager to talk to you. Okay? So if you can't find that on Wikipedia, which is not as accurate, these guys, that's what they do. Okay? So that's how you get some information. Is there growth going on? How, what's the workload? Who are the big employers? They'll have it. I'm not just talking about Dallas. All of those guys have it, most times. You can also go to places like Zipskinny or Zip-Who or Movuto to do the demographic searches, and other websites as well. I like this one, Movuto. I write in Google Movuto, demographics, the word demographic, and then the zip code, and I get it just like that, very easily. I'm not sure Zipskinny is up and running, and maybe I haven't checked for a while, but they have it too. So if you want to go, to the resolution on the zip code, those are good resources, and there are others. Okay, if you want to understand specifically. Now, you found the area, the metro. You found the area. You found, the property. Okay, within that area, you want to, kind of get information on the property itself. What do you do? So obviously, there's a quantity and quality data that we want to gather in order to make that decision. Let's talk about the quality. Okay, so on the quality, what I like to do, again, old school me, is call them up. Call an agent. We talked about it earlier, but I'm going to repeat it because a few more people came. I call even a random agent and I say, hey, I'm seeing that house. What do you think about this house? What do you think about this area? Maybe they don't know the house at that point. What do you think about this area? And and what I said earlier, I let them sell and convince me it's the best property ever. Because when they try to convince or do a sales pitch on me, I stay open because that is an opportunity to get information for those guys. Okay? So I call an agent, even a random agent, right? Now, I will say this. If you are investors and you're calling a random agent, be very, very cautious. Every agent you're going to talk to and you're going to ask him, can you help me with investment properties? The answer will be,
Yes.
of course. They're not all really understand. An agent that has been working primarily with homeowners does not understand the mindset of an investor, does not know how to analyze a property, what to look for. We are definitely looking at things differently. I couldn't care about the room is if it's 4 feet larger or smaller, if the door is red, or if it's facing south or north. As an investor, as a homeowner, my wife would drive me nuts on this stuff, of course. Okay, I don't care about that. I care about numbers. I care about growth. All the realtors that you're going to talk to will tell you absolutely I can help you, and they don't. Most of the time, don't even know all this, the semantics or the nuances that are important. So be very, very careful about that. Don't just jump in, but just to get any information on the property, you call an agent, they call you back, no problem, just for the research. Same thing I do with a property manager. I call them up. I like mine, but you can call any property manager, even if you're not their clients. And guess what? They're gonna tell you what they think about the area, right? And they're gonna provide you information along the way, because that's part of the sales pitch, right? They wanna earn your business. That's fine. I'm getting that information out of them, and that helps you. Of course, if you have an expert, someone like myself, it's definitely another helpful thing. There's few investors here that I know. Maybe I don't want to call on them, but maybe they'll eventually in the Q&A will stand up and say a few words on their experience working with us. But plenty of time that I've looked at properties and told the investor what I think. I like it. I don't. I like it, but be aware of those things. do this, do that. For those of you who have been in the experience with me, want to talk later, I would love that, but I would leave it up to you, to decide. I respect your privacy, of course. So it's always good to have another set of eyes telling you. Even if you know what you're doing and you're okay with it and you think you have a good decision, who doesn't want another set of eyes looking and saying, you know what, I think you should do this, I think you should do that, or have you thought about this thing about this house or something like that? It's a brainstorm, right? Naturally. So this is all the quality data of the property, how to gather that information. Now let's move to the quantity. So the quantity, how do we analyze the numbers, which is a little bit easier. What I suggest, and I'll show it, is using our Excel that we've put together. You don't have to, and you find your own tool, that's quite fine, that's obviously okay, but have a tool to analyze. Know to analyze your investment altogether, this Excel or another. You don't have to use ours, of course. You can check for, if you want to verify the rental information, the rent, you can go to rentometer.com. You can go to Zillow. I think it's fairly accurate, the rent. They have a section for that. There's at least one more, I can't remember, that I have. So there are resources to check the rent. Ask an agent or a property manager to run comps on the rent. You can do that too, no problem. Zilpay, they used to be free, now it costs money. You can plug in the address and it populates, I think, the information from Zillow. It has nothing to do with Zillow. I know the founder. It has nothing to do with Zillow. This tool I really like, real estate analysis free. I have no relation to those guys, right? I'm just, I've used them in the past. Realestateanalysisfree.com used to be fully free, analyze properties, easy. They changed their business model a few months back, and now their 2 properties are free, and then anything else is a premium, okay? But you can still use it for 2 properties. The problem that I have with this one that I really like, but I have a problem, it gives you multiple indicators. So you analyze the properties, now you have 9 indicators of the property on the analysis. 9 indicators. That's a little bit confusing, at least for me. And I know this stuff, right? It's still confusing. So it's good, but just be aware, focus on 1 or 2 or 3, and just don't try to digest everything unless you're really, analytical people, and maybe that's 9 indicators, it's, hey, that's what I do for breakfast. That's fine. Questions? You guys are awfully quiet. Okay. This is our Excel. Some of you know it. I'm just going to say briefly. We sell it online. You can purchase it on simplydoit.net/Excel. There are 3 versions. Don't ask me, I don't remember the cost, but it's like $20 to $60, give or take $2. So I'm not here to pitch that. I just want to say it's available. Investors who work with us just get it, so they don't have to pay for it. It covers the following. Let's see if we can focus that a little bit better. So it takes into consideration the property information like bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, year, schools. Then the purchase, what's the purchase price? What's the market value? How much improvements we need to do to the property once we buy it. We have to spend a little bit to fix it up, almost always. Rarely do we have a property that doesn't need anything. Maybe 1,000, maybe 5. We factor that in. What's the closing cost we're going to have? What's the mortgage cost we're going to have? Some additional fees. How much this property is costing me? Okay, I know you can't see, but it's there. Okay, then we're going to go here. What's the down payment? Financial, 20%, 4.75% rate. Here's my mortgage payment. Here's how much out of pocket. It tells me right here to buy this property how much money I need, the down payment and all those costs associated. So I know to be ready. Okay, and then rent, property taxes, insurance, repairs, property management, listing fee, HOA, vacancy. All of those things are there, realistically. I have done, before having this Excel, the way I would go about analyzing properties, I would do the worst case scenario. You know what happens when you do worst case scenario?
Never pull the trigger.
Never pull the trigger. You get the worst case. That was my MO for many years. And you know what? There's a cemetery full of good deals that I could have done, but I didn't, because I always do worst case scenario. Over the years,